In today's video, we're going to talk about calculating the slope of a line from a graph, and then we're going to talk about calculating the slope of the line when given only 2 points without a graph. So as you can see, I have a line here on this coordinate plane. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find 2 points that intersect with the grid lines of the graph and mark them. So there's one right here, and there's one right there. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to act like the line between those 2 points is the hypotenuse of a right triangle, and I'm going to draw the legs of that right triangle. So I'm going to do the line there, and then I'll draw a line here. Now what those lines represent is the red line represents the vertical change, or the change in y, and the blue line represents the horizontal change, or the change in x. So what I need to do is I need to count the length of that line and just make note of it to the side. So I'm going to start with the vertical change. Now the length of the line is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but it's going from a positive down to a negative y value, so it's actually a negative 7. All right. So the length is 7, but it represents a negative 7 there. Now I'm going to try to count the horizontal change. I guess not try to count the horizontal change. I'm going to actually count it. We start here and we go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a positive 4. So now, if you recall, slope is equal to the change in y minus the change in, over the change in x, or y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So our vertical change is equal to negative 7, and our horizontal change was equal to 4. So there's our slope. It's negative 7/4. You can tell it's negative because as it goes from left to right, it's going down. Now for our next problem, here's our line. Okay, going from left to right, this one's going up, so we expect our answer to be positive. That's a good thing to hypothesize about before you do the problem. Just kind of check your work at the end. So again, the first step, we're going to find 2 points that intersect with the grid lines. There's those 2 right there. We're going to turn this into a right triangle by drawing the legs. There's the vertical change. Here's the horizontal change. Now I'm going to label. So this time we start here and we're going up, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's positive 4. We start here and go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So our horizontal change is 9. Okay, so again, m is equal to, I'm going to write it a little different this time. Change in y, delta y over delta x, it's change in y, that's equal to y2 minus y1. Delta x, that's equal to x2 minus x1, is equal to, our y change is 4, and our x change is 9, so our slope is 4/9. Again, it's positive, which we expected because it goes up from left to right. All right? Now let's do it when we're just given 2 points. So we're going to start with the points negative 3, 4, and 1, negative 3. In order to solve when just given points, we use the formula m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The first thing that we need to do is we need to determine which point is the first one, which one's the second one. It doesn't matter because either way, if you do the math correctly, you'll get the right answer. I'm going to say that this is my first point and this is my second point. Okay, that means that this is y2 and this is x2, and this is y1 and this is x1. Now I'm going to take those numbers and fill them into the corresponding parts on the formula. So m is equal to y2, which was negative 3, minus 4, and x2, which was 1, minus a negative 3. So negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7, and a 1 minus a negative 3, it's like 1 plus 3 is 4. So the slope between these 2 points is negative 7 over 4. And that's the same as the graph we just did because I just used those 2 points from the graph. Let's do one more. All right, this one has points negative 3, negative 3. And we have point 6, 1. All right, so it's our first point and our second point, which means we have, drop all these pins, x2 and y2. That means we have x1 and y1. right? So you recall m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now we fill in. M is equal to y2 is 1 minus a negative 3. I wrote it small like that. Then x2 is 6 minus x1, which is negative 3 again. 1 minus negative 3 is 4, because it's just like adding. And 6 minus negative 3 is 9, because it's just like adding. And again, we got the same slope that we got when we calculated it from the graph. So there you have it, two different ways to find slope. One when given the graph of a line, and then the other way when given just 2 points.